How's it going, guys? This is Dylan with Phillips Run Driven Bubble Company. I'm coming back to you again with another part of the build on the aluminum boat. Tonight I've got a couple welds I got to finish on the back. I missed a couple pieces of aluminum. I found them. They was in the front. And so I'm going to get those put on, and then I'm going to start building the front deck. So hopefully we can get this decking tied together so I can start priming and painting and getting ready so I can go catch some fish. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I've got to get these pieces welded in. I'd actually lost them. And when I was in the process of getting all the pieces out for the front and figuring out where they're going, I found them and I was like, okay. So I'm going to put these in real quick, weld them in real quick. And there's a couple places I've seen on some welds that I wasn't happy with, so I'm going to go over those. And I'll get up here to the front and start tacking it together and getting it done. So I'm going to start at the front and work back. That way I've got room to wiggle back here because this is not permanent. So if I can get this front put in and put it where I need it to be, the back should line right up. Well, I'm in the process of welding. I'm going to put you on a time lapse and we'll go from there.
There's a one-stop shop on a mountain road for shotgun shells, bait beer, and tobacco. The only gold in these here hills is a pretty little blonde with her own steel down in Hillhole.
I got the back deck welded up and it's done and ready to go. I learned a valuable piece of information and I'm going to share it with you. If your welding gloves are a little bit damp because they might have got rained on or they're just got water wet, don't use them. What happens is when you start to weld, that electricity travels through that glove, through your hand, through your body, and then out the other side. So just a word of advice, don't use wet welding gloves because they do conduct electricity really well. The front of the boat packed or pretty much welded together. I'm going to take and probably slide it out and then take it over on the table, flip it over and then weld all the joints up and then slide it back in and hard weld it to the boat so that front piece is permanent, won't go anywhere. I got the front piece welded up. I'm going to let it cool just a few minutes and then I'll slide it back in there, and that should have it other than welding it permanently to the boat. So I just wanted to be able to weld both sides because that is kind of the main piece on that front. So it's going to be holding a lot of weight on the front. You'll have the trolling motor the control will be there and all that, so you'll be standing in that area quite a bit. So I just wanted it to be a little stronger. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld the whole deck, just kind of tack it together around the edges, and then I'll set it out on the table and bring and put all the middle braces in, and I'll weld it all up good and tight.
The only traffic jam that you're gonna find is a big parade of four-wheel drives and tractors come harvest time. We love Hank Jr., ZZ Top, old George Jones, and Kid Rock, and we ain't a bit afraid to turn.
Got the front deck completely tacked together, and then I pulled it out. When I done is I braced it up with some steel braces across it on both sides to make sure that it stays good and level, and then that way it stays perfectly flat. This unit's flat on the front, and so I've come in and I'm putting the braces in the middle, weld them in. So I've done that side, and I'm going to come to this side, and then I'll finish out in the middle, and then flip it over and weld them all in, and getting that much closer to having that deck done. So just come in and clean up my welds a little bit and deck it and prime it and paint it and get it going so I can go catch some fish.
The higher you climb, the closer you get to heaven. Yeah, you do. Way up high where the moon shines bright on Red Mountain. When the moon shines bright, we all get high on Braden Mountain. a one-stop shop on a mountain road for shotgun shells, big beer and tobacco.
All right, the front deck is done. It's welded in. This is the back platform. This is the part that lifts. In the front, it's welded in to the boat. So I've got the platforms are done. That's been the biggest hurdle. Now it's the easy part. So I'm gonna come in and I'll clean everything up, and I'll take it and go wash it and vacuum it out real good and get all the debris and trash out, and then prime it. So I'm gonna take and sand it down and prime it all up real good and get it ready to paint so I can get the deck put on it. So that's where we're at. We're going to be doing the primer next. So tune back in to Phillips Run Drip and Bubble Company, and I'll show you what's going on with the Alumacraft.